Rural Lifestyle, brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick. In Wamego, just a short drive down the yellow brick road.
Good morning and welcome back to the show. We're at the 2013 Kansas Soybean Expo here in Topeka, Kansas. We're joined by Lavelle. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Common Ground. Not many people nowadays think we have much common ground, but anyways, it's a program that teaches, I guess, kind of more urban type families about agriculture. Tell us about it.
Well, and if you think about it, there are only about 1.5% to 2% of people are actually on farms today. And so that leaves 98 to 98.5% of the people who are not on farms. And a lot of those people are a couple of generations removed from the farm. So a lot of people have questions where their food comes from and how it is actually raised. And so we came up with the concept to be able to share how we raise food on our farms. My husband and I farm, and how, for example, how we raise food and communicate that. Try to have intentional communication with people who may be in the urban areas and may be having questions about it, questions or concerns about how their food is actually raised.
Is there more questions about grain farming or animal production?
I think there's probably actually equal, questions on both sides, certainly.
And as far as grain production goes, what's kind of one of the biggest issues, or I guess misconceptions, consumers may have about the way Kansas farmers produce grain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there can be a lot of questions from a lot of different areas, but one of the big questions that we get is about GMO grains, and that's an issue that we saw a lot because it was actually a proposition in California here recently in the recent election. And a lot of people hear that and they think, gosh, what is that?
Right.
And really what it is there's a way for science to improve yields and use less inputs on our crop production.
It's just technology, and I think it's a misconception that consumers, once they understand the facts, will understand that it's just technology is what it is.
Yeah, and it's difficult because there is a lot of negative information, and if that's the only side that you see, we understand that you may have concerns about that, but there are a lot of really good things. You think about all of the things that we have in technology, from our cell phones, and it's good technology, and our medical research and development. And this is research and development that's actually happened in food, and some of that technology happens in a lab, so it happens faster than what it could actually happen in nature. So that's where it's at. And ultimately, what the goal is, our population is exploding. I mean, it's projected to be 9 billion people by 2050, which is less than 40 years away.
Right.
And how are we going to feed that many people, and that many people that are not just at the very bottom of the eating chain, but also going into the middle class and demanding more meat proteins, for example, in their diets. And that's huge in China and India, that there's a huge amount of population that's going into that segment in their diets.
Well, you look at some of the associations out there who are well-funded and who have their own agenda, I guess you might see, and a lot of this pertains to animal agriculture more than it does maybe grain agriculture. They're well-funded. They've got a great message that tends to confuse consumers. Is that something else that you battle?
Well, more the questions, but like one of the big questions that you may be thinking about is there's a lot of people who question about, or maybe have concerns about having antibiotic residue in their meats. And some of the background behind that is ranchers actually have to have a withdrawal period after they give antibiotics to their animals.
Clearly stated on the bottom.
Yes, and then before they release those animals to sell or release them to slaughter. And so there's a protocol that's involved in that, and although I understand why it may be a concern, there's a lot of steps, and that's the importance is for us as farmers and ranchers to share what those steps are if you might have a friend or somebody that you know that has concerns in that area.
Common Ground, someone wants to get involved, help support the cause, what's the easiest way to do that?
Yes, if they'd like to learn more about Common Ground, our website is findourcommonground.com. And then if you would like to find anyone like myself that's a Kansas farmer, or any of the other farm families who are involved in Common Ground, you can go on that website and there's a map, a national map, and you can select each state and pick any of those
Right.
volunteers to find out about their farms specifically. And then several of us have blogs or Twitter accounts and things like that that you can also find out more about us individually and see what's happening on our farm.
Reaching kids important?
Pardon me?
Reaching kids, I mean, kids as they continue to grow and become consumers of the future,
Oh,
getting them to
sure.
kind of understand what's going on?
Yes, yes. And you know, one of the things about Common Ground is typically we are reaching out to other mothers because it's like 85 to 90% of women are the ones that are
Right,
the
sure.
number one shoppers for groceries in their household. And so so they're usually the ones that are asking these questions, but then they're the ones who are leading their little guys into eating healthy diets and making sure they're eating their vegetables and getting their protein and so forth.
It's a great cause.
Yes.
And thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.